a little story time about me quitting my job, my last job. I was a work from home nurse and I was a lead working in the appeals department for a big company across the United States. I enjoyed that job thoroughly in the beginning, and I worked there for probably 2 years, from 2021 to 2023, or last year, 2024. And I liked it until the new manager came along. Now, the new manager used to be lead. When she was lead, we had a great manager. That manager hired me. She left, and then the lead became manager. Now, this was her first time being a manager, so I don't fault her for much of anything, just for her attitude. All was going well until I realized that she was having trouble assigning me work that is normally given to the lead. I found that she was having an issue trusting me with the work, so she was doing much of the work herself. She would complain about her manager, who also changed. The management changed above her. And over her was placed a very stringent woman who appeared, through my manager's estimation, that she did not like my manager. She seemed to be irritable with my manager whenever she asked questions, which is bad in itself. So the toxicity came from above my manager. And I really don't think she was given a fair chance. But in that respect, my manager also didn't give me a fair chance, because she was not giving me the work that would normally be done by a lead. She was having an issue delegating and giving me the work and letting go. And so there were subliminal comments that she would make. A lot of my work was surrounded by training and onboarding new people. I noticed that she would take days off whenever a new person was first starting, which is really weird. You would want your manager to be there on your first day of work, right? But she's not there. And I am to onboard them. I am to train them, which, I expected as a lead. However, I did not expect for her to always be off whenever there was a person starting. You could start them when you get back, or you can start them before you leave, Those are options. But that never was the case. I started to notice some problems when she would give me something to do, and then she wouldn't give me feedback. It would just be gone in the wind, I never knew what happened with those things that she gave me. Directions weren't quite clear. She also would make comments like, "Oh great, now I can show Amy, her manager, that you're actually doing something." And I'm like, does she think I don't do anything? Hold up. And she was like, "Well, she has made some comments." Now this is new to me. I did work and I busted my ass. I even stayed over my allotted shift time to make sure that work was complete and that other people were helped sufficiently and could get their cases done. But that was overlooked for some reason, and her manager never knew of that. So to me, that was a red flag. There was another issue where I wasn't there for the meeting, but I got an earful when I came back from other staff members telling me that my manager was being very insensitive, basically asking them for feedback on things and then telling them, "No, that's not the issue," or "No, that's not a good idea," or "No, what you're saying is wrong." Basically asking them for things and then putting the idea or what they said down. So another red flag. Another time came when she actually called myself and someone else out on why something wasn't done correctly. Mind you, I wasn't even there on the day that this thing was processed, but she pointed the finger at me and the other person, and I asked the question right back at her, or right back to her, since she was there and present on that day. Why didn't she look at this and help this person out with that since she was there? "Well, I had a lot of things to do." It was very defensive, the answer. I had a lot of things to do. She liked to let us know everything that she was doing instead of delegating in an effort to get some sympathy from us or empathy from us. But we all had our own loads to deal with, and it was very insensitive in a manner of always making it seem like she worked the hardest for her unit, when there were a lot of times where she was MIA and we couldn't reach her on Teams. Like, she would put herself on busy. We had no idea what she was doing. But we were kind of siloed, not knowing what management was saying, and I dealt with the unit most of the time, helping with issues, processing cases to help people get up to speed with their cases. I would just jump in. I wasn't supposed to do cases, but I did. And things came to a head. We had high turnover. Our 7-person nurse unit went down to just 2 people, me and a temporary nurse. And I'm not supposed to work cases, mind you, but I was trying my best just to help us stay afloat, right? And we have hundreds of cases come in every day. But I tried my best, my damnedest, to get things processed. Also dealing with things at home, staying over just a little bit, even though I work from home. And the temporary nurse did the best she could as well. But it came to a head because I felt like I was being used. A lot of the time, we dealt with high turnover. Nurses would leave, and then the onus would be put on me to process cases. And although I'm lead, I'm supposed to be focusing on other things, not cases. So this irritated me, and I felt used. Because instead of correcting your management practices and doing what you need to do, filling these positions at a faster rate, they decided to wait until the last minute, until things were gone to shit, basically, when we're down to 2 people and we have to meet state regulations and make sure that we process things in a timely manner. Not only this, but we also had nurses in Washington and Nevada. And Washington only had 1 nurse when it was supposed to be 2. This nurse advocated for my manager to hire another nurse constantly, consistently, in every meeting asked her, when are you going to hire another nurse? When are you going to hire another nurse? Never did it. She brought it to her manager, allegedly, and that manager didn't approve it. Now, when we were down to 2 nurses, me and the temporary nurse here in California, over our California unit, I had asked that, I was bold. I said, forget this. I went to the manager, I emailed my manager and her manager and proposed a raise for myself. I advocated for myself. And it was a negotiation. It wasn't that I was asking for this firm. So I negotiated and said I would like to negotiate a raise of, like $1 to $2 more. And based on the fact that I am consistently doing appeals, I have to deal with the unit, like other reasons, I laid it out there. Her manager responded with, well, based on what your manager said, I cannot give you a raise because it doesn't appear that you're doing your job correctly. Basically that type of response. Or that you have failed to do a few assignments. Assignments that I had no idea I had failed to do. Because in all of my reviews, my annual reviews where your manager meets with you, it said that it gave me a exceeding or meets. She gave me an exceeding or meets productivity standards or whatever standards to receive a raise. So nowhere in any of my reviews did she put that I was not meeting anything or that I failed to do any assignment. However, this was news to me coming from the manager of my manager. Right then and there, I submitted my 2-week notice. I thanked her for her response and I said I would like to put in my 2-week notice. And that might have shocked them. Obviously, that shocked them. They jumped on trying to hire, but did not hire. Like a week later, I got an email from someone I didn't know that said, okay, Delilah, when are we going to meet to train? And I'm like, what are you talking about? As I'm trying to process these cases, because you're supposed to meet a certain number every day. And she said, you need to talk to your manager because we had a meeting and you're supposed to train about 3 nurses. I had enough. My manager went around me, didn't include me in anything, but threw me out there. And it felt like it was out of animosity that she did not include me. I had no idea of the plan. So then again, it was toxic. Right then and there, I teamed my whole unit, told them it was a pleasure to work with them, and gave them my number if they ever needed a reference. And I said, I am quitting right now. And right when I submitted that, I also included the hire manager, the manager that I tried to negotiate with, my manager's manager, and she tried to ping me back to say something, and I don't know what the hell she said, because I logged off and I never logged back on again. Now, do I recommend you leave like that? No. But I don't hesitate to leave if I'm not being treated fairly. They don't give you a 2-week notice when they're firing you or laying you off. So I'm not going to give you that same courtesy after I've busted my ass and you fail to compensate me for that ass buster. So needless to say, I'm not an advocate for not getting what you're worth at a job. I personally will leave in a heartbeat, or put my ducks in a row to make it a possibility for me to leave, make it possible for me so I'm not beholden to one job or to how they treat me. Because I really feel like a lot of these companies, they just don't care about you. They just care what you do for them. And as a nurse, you should really have another stream of income, because these companies don't really care about you. They care about what you do for them, and they will take until nothing is left. So you need to do what you can for yourself. By the way, that nurse that I mentioned that I worked with that was in Washington, she died. I think I've mentioned this in my other videos. She died last July on vacation going with her husband to Oregon, and a car just hit them head on. It was a head-on collision. They didn't have any chance. Unfortunately, there is video of this accident, because I guess there was a Tesla or some other type of vehicle that had footage of the actual crash, and that was it. She lost her life. And I was notified not by the manager of the unit, who also had my number, but by someone else who had left the job, the position, who left the job on good terms and put in their 2-week notice. She texted me and told me that the manager had told her that that girl, my friend, had died. And I would have attended that funeral in person had I known, not 2 days before her funeral. And instead I attended virtually, and I saw all the love being poured out from all her family. Obviously, it's a funeral. But I also noticed that her husband, who worked for Microsoft, his whole team came, manager and all, in person, to say some kind words about how much he will be missed, and they were pretty torn up about it. Now, was there anyone there from the insurance company that my friend worked for? No, not one. Manager didn't go out there. No one acknowledged her except for people that she worked with, friends. And 2 weeks later, I texted someone to ask if they filled the position, and of course they did. They filled the Washington position, and also filled the extra Washington position that they had available, that nurse was advocating to be filled, so that she can get a little bit relief from all of the cases she was handling. So that just goes to show exactly what I'm saying. These jobs don't care about you. So make sure that you care about yourself and that you do what you need to do. Toxic management exists everywhere. What is toxic behavior or toxic management? You might get verbal abuse. You may get passive-aggressive, gaslighting type of behavior. Micromanagement can be seen as toxicity. I mean, why do you have to constantly be over my shoulder? I'm an adult. Lack of respect. You know what it feels like to be respected as a human being. So anything that's outside of that is most likely toxic management. Even favoritism can be thrown in there, and that happens a lot. They pick their favorites and they go with it. They get the promotions. They just get favoritism over you. They might be career of nursing. In that case, they might get the easier patients, the ones that are walkie-talkie and require minimal assistance. So if they favor a certain person, they'll give them all of those patients. You have to ask yourself, how often and how frequently does this behavior occur, and who does it affect? You have to consider your well-being. How is it impacting you? How is it impacting your workload? Are you able to function like a normal human being? Are you tense? Are you stressed out before you even come on site? All of these things matter. Company culture is very important. Is the toxic behavior only limited to your manager, or are you seeing it go up the chain? Is it coming down the chain? And also, does the company even take steps to address this behavior? Is there willingness? Is there openness to discuss it with staff members? In my opinion, you should always be on the ready so you don't have to get ready. Plan your exit strategies. Do you have enough savings? Do you have enough investments to cover yourself if you encounter something that is just, that's it. It's a deal breaker for you. You gotta go. You can't handle the stress, or you can't handle the disrespect that you're experiencing. Always protect yourself in that manner. Have enough to cover expenses should you walk out. Have a backup plan. Be prepared to search for jobs as well. Know where to look. Make connections with other nurses who don't even work with you to see where you can apply and who's hiring. Always have a backup plan. And in addition to that, if you look for another job, always have a way or know what to say to potential employers in an interview for why you're leaving your current position. Do not mention toxic management. Do not put blame on them, because in the end it looks bad. If you are experiencing toxic behavior from your management, always document the interactions. If you know that they're acting in a toxic manner, most likely they don't want to communicate through email. They want you to come see them. So just make sure that you document every interaction with them, because trust me, they're documenting their interactions with you if you are making mistakes. Do that to protect yourself. This would be useful if you intend to pursue legal action through HR or other means or other avenues. Make sure that you keep, as I mentioned before, make sure that you keep records through emails, also your performance reviews, which is the one thing that I did not do. Before I left and signed out, I did not keep or download all of my performance reviews before I did that. But I don't plan to return back to that company anyway. Not with that management, not with those managers, not at all. Make sure you look at the company's policies before you leave, because if you're under a contract, then you might have an issue there. So just target your leaving, if you intend to leave, surrounding your contract's expiration, or read up on it to see if there's some way that you can get out of the contract so that you can get out of that toxic environment right away. Trust your instincts. Talk to trusted friends, other coworkers, to see if they have experienced the same type of behavior. Don't throw yourself out there, because you never know if someone will stab you in the back regarding the information that you're sharing as far as your toxic interactions with management. You just never know who's trying to get promoted, or whatever reasons that people decide that it's okay to stab someone in the back who trusts you with information. So just protect yourself, ask them, and if they are revealing some information and you feel safe to reveal yours, then go ahead and do that. Consult lawyers if you need to see if there's any legal action that can be taken. And above all, you are important. Your mental health is important, and no job is worth that. In fact, I really feel like in the United States anyway, there is a culture of a different type of slavery here. With the call back to work and not working from home, or having the option to, or even hybrid, they want to make sure you have no other options. Even with just the hybrid, they want to make sure you have no other options. They want to make sure they are your only option so that they can control you. They don't care that for some of us, working from home helped our families because we were more present. They don't care that our financial situation improved because we didn't have to have costs for gas or lunch or wardrobe or whatever the hell it is. Our costs were lowered. We were able to care for elderly parents. It doesn't matter. We were able to get an education on the side. Whatever it is, they didn't care about that. And most jobs have called us back. Most jobs have called us back into the office. And this just goes to show they don't want you to have options. They want you to only be beholden to them, and they want to control everything that you do. So with that being said, I choose to fight back by trying to develop ways to have passive income and to also support my family outside of jobs, because I don't trust them. I just don't trust them. I don't trust the people. Management is very toxic at times. Thankfully, with the job that I have now, management's not toxic at all, at least not so far. They're very cordial, very easy to get along with, very easy to work with. They don't put pressure on you or micromanage. And I really feel like the current place that I'm working at will go far with this model. They have not called us back into the office, and I don't think really that there's any plan to. And I hope that they don't, because I probably won't be going to the office. I'm just gonna put that out there. So in the meantime, I'm trying to make sure that me and my family are safe, because that is the priority, and those are the people that will care if I die. I'm not replaceable. Or so I don't think. But yeah, protect yourself and make sure that you recognize the signs of micromanaging or toxic management, and make sure that you're not taking that shit. You don't need to take that shit. You're worth so much more than the shit that they give you or the stress. Do what you need to do to protect yourself. Okay, hopefully you found this video helpful, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye. And in saying all that I've said in this video, I think it's important to also note, I'm not mad at my manager. I feel like she had to do what she had to do. She had some things that she probably didn't want to disclose to us, such as not wanting to give up control, or maybe she didn't even notice it, not sure. She was dealing with her own struggles, and I don't hold any animosity towards her. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I feel like I did what was best for me, dealing with what I was dealing with at the time, and also feeling like I'm not getting compensated what I should be compensated for the work that I'm doing, and for management's failure to overcome a reoccurring problem. I'm not gonna play with these jobs. You don't play with me, I'm not playing with you. So I will leave if I feel that I'm not being treated fairly and I'm not receiving what I should be receiving. I don't like control, and I don't like when people have control over me. So that's basically my thing. Maybe to a fault. Do I feel like I left the job appropriately? No. I should have stuck through my 2-week notice instead of just calling it quits right there. In the moment, emotions were high for me, and I was dealing with the lie. I did not have the wherewithal to have a pop-up training right now. I knew I was going to have to train before I left, but the way that it was done, where somebody else had to contact me to ask me when am I going to be available to train, instead of my own manager, rubbed me the wrong way. And since she didn't have the courtesy to let me know what was going on, I felt like it just wasn't worth sticking around. So just wanted to throw that out there.